I have a lot of young people who ask me, how do I get to know someone? What are the boundaries? Am I allowed to talk in private? When can I not? Do the parents have to know? Am I allowed to talk on the internet? What are the limits if I can? What are the things that I should be talking about? If I go to meet her, she meets me, in what are the circumstances? What should we talk about? What are the questions I should ask? What are the topics that we should talk about before I get married? Some people ask me, is marriage necessary? Do I have to get married? Is it haram not to get married? Questions like, how do I get engaged? How do I ask for a potential spouse? Some sisters say, can I propose to the brother? So let's answer these questions and look at them, inshallah, and share this piece of knowledge. My brothers and sisters, so steps to getting to know someone for marriage in Islam. The first thing I want to talk about is the ruling of marriage. Is marriage compulsory, or what is the story with it? Brothers and sisters, getting married has 5 cases and 5 rulings. 5. The first case, it's compulsory, you have to. The second case, it's recommended, you don't have to, but better. The third case, it's neither recommended nor disliked, it's neutral, you want to do it, you don't want to, that's fine. The fourth case is it's disliked, recommended not to get married. And the fifth case, it's forbidden to get married. So what are these cases? These scholars, a lot of people don't know this. The cases have been already, this is a past dealt with issue in the books of fiqh and jurisprudence. The marriage is compulsory when you have the means, the financial, physical and mental capacity to get married, and you have a high testosterone level or a temptation level or a lustful level that you fear you're going to fall into haram. You're going to fall into what we call fornication, zina. You're going to go out with a girl and do things, or the other way around. What do I mean by the other way around? A sister. So if you have the financial means and you're ready, you're mature enough, mentally enough, physically enough, financially enough, and you fear that you're going to fall into haram, then it becomes compulsory to get married. Or you have already close to falling into haram, or you're on the steps of falling to haram, and you know yourself that if you don't get married, you don't have a partner soon to have halal intimacy with them, then it becomes compulsory for that person to get married. Number 2 is recommended, and that is when you do have the means, there's nothing stopping you, you have the financial means, you have the ability, but your temptations, you don't fear upon yourself. You have control over yourself. You're not falling into haram and you're not in the steps of haram. So you're not in that case. You have good control over yourself. Therefore, it's recommended to get married. The neutral way is when your finances are okay and your temptations are okay, but your finances are not too high and your temptations are not too high, but they're not too low, imbalanced. Then for this type of a person, and usually this neutral way is more for older people that really just want a marriage for companionship and some intimacy, but not too much. These people, it's neutral. Everyone knows themselves. The disliked one is when a person does not have enough finances, but can get by day to day, can get by minimum, and their temptations are so low that they know themselves, they fear that they won't be able to satisfy a woman. So in this case, it becomes disliked, but they're not very sure of themselves, it's quite low. And the haram stage is when they are unable to provide for a family, that if they were to get married, they know that they're going to cause oppression. They're going to victimize that lady that they're going to get married. So obviously because the man is responsible for financial provision and protection of the wife, therefore he is unable to provide for her. If he gets married to her, he's going to oppress her, and their temptations are low. So these people, it's haram for them to get married, they should fast. Now some people, they might mix between. They might say, my finances are low, if I get married I might harm her, but my temptations are so high. What do we do in these situations? We say getting married to her, not getting married is better. Because oppression and zulm is worse. Some scholars said, if you have support, get married. Or find another way of waiting. Because this is in the Quran. Allah says, whoever does not find the means to protect themselves from falling into, so whoever does not have the means to get married, فَلْيَسْتَعْفِفْ. Control yourself, hold yourself, find some other means. The Prophet ﷺ said, fast if it helps you, until you are able to get married. Because dhulm, oppression, is one of the major sins, even higher than a person committing a minor sin or has a fear of falling into temptations. Dhulm of a person is worse. So it's better if you can to wait. So brothers and sisters, what you need to understand is that there are these 5 cases. Marriage is not always compulsory, not always recommended. Sometimes it's actually disliked, sometimes very neutral, sometimes it's haram. Especially it's haram if a person has no drive whatsoever and they're not going to be able to fulfill the wife's need who they marry. Let's say someone who is in the disliked stage, let's say they just want to get married to someone for companionship, but they don't really want to do much more than that. This person has to tell that person they're going to get married to that this is what they're like. So you might be asking, are there men that way? Are there women that way? Yeah. There are people who are born with hormonal imbalances. And there are those types. There are men who are a bit more effeminate and women who are a bit more masculine. And this is genetically correct. Even in Islam, we know this. So, these are the 5 cases. I hope, inshallah, I'll just leave it at that because that's not the main topic. But inshallah, if you want to research more, there's heaps of that, inshallah, and all the schools of thought. You can look it up, inshallah, from your reputable sources, Islam Web, Islam Q&A, for example, and many other reputable websites. Number 2, brothers and sisters. The second thing I want to talk about is I want to advise you about how to search for a spouse and what are the boundaries and limits in accordance with Islam. In saying that, I need to talk about the reality of this world as well. For me to sit here and tell you the traditional way, like the way they used to live in the past in Mecca and Medina, is impractical. I'm not going to sit here making life so hard and telling you that you've got to live like them. It would be ideal that there is no communication between men and women who are not related to each other, and the way to get to know her or him is to go straight to the father when you hear about them, and that's the first place you see her and you talk and under supervision and so on and so forth. But in reality, in our life, we have social media, we have the internet. You talk to the young people, teenagers, and if I'm going to sit there and say, don't talk, you can't talk, boy can't talk to girl can't talk to boy, they might say to me, inshallah, but they're going to think, well, it's normal. Boys talk to girls talk to boys. Isn't that right? In school, they have group chats in the school. They're all together, they talk. To sit there and say, don't talk, it's not really going to work. That's the reality. Some people may get upset with me and say, why are you saying this? Inshallah, it's better to avoid it, brothers and sisters. But I'm saying in reality, people do talk. So instead of just cutting it off and them doing it behind our backs, let's talk about a solution. Let's talk about employing it. Let's direct them. Let's guide them. The idea with teenagers, if you're a parent, is to discuss with them. Why, daughter? Why, son? What are the fears? What are the ramifications? What are the consequences of chatting with, boys and girls chatting together on the internet and so on? Talk about the fears and ramifications. Let them think, have a discussion. Because you can't have control over, especially with teenagers, you have less control over them. So, the scholars of today have spoken and said, look, the minimum, if a person truly has good intentions for marriage and they can talk with the person respectfully, they know themselves and they can respect the boundary so it doesn't become inappropriate between them, and it's truly for marriage, they can talk necessarily as much as it needs to be, but to try their best to move from that step to the next step. Some sisters ask me, how do I know a guy is playing me? How do I know a guy is just wasting my time? We say, well, there are a few signs. One of the signs is, one person said to me, bro, it's easy. Just tell her to tell him, this is my dad's number, give my dad a call, we'll talk over there. That's the easy way. And that's the way to know if he's serious or not. If he starts wiggling around and making excuses, he's not really serious. But then there are some brothers, they say, look, let me just talk for a bit, and just before I go and make everything serious, they're very scared. They start getting stomach aches and they start getting all these problems. I understand. Then, you can try. The sister knows that he's playing her or thing when she asks important questions. Like, look, I'll only talk twice or 3 times. I am interested in marriage, but after that, I'm going to tell my parents about this. And then if he starts wiggling around and changing the appointments and wants to keep talking and talking, then you know that this guy is trying to play games. Honestly, brothers, look at your own sister or your own daughter. How would you like them to be treated? So really, you've got to use the brain rather than here or somewhere else. You need to use the brain. Brothers and sisters, it's very important that we respect each other. So these are the types of people and also when they hide everything. Yeah, so they're very private. They won't they won't say who they are really. Sometimes they use nicknames. They ask pressing questions and the guy is always hiding, or the girl is always hiding things. So you can tell that they're wiggling around. This is just playing games. This is not serious. My brothers and sisters, I advise you, please stay away from these types of toying with each other. I don't want to start with all the stories because I want to get to the important part. However, there are many stories out there where things went really wrong. Shame is going down the drain. Shame is going down the drain. Self-respect, modesty, everything that was considered harmful to each other from a sexual sense has become normalized. We don't have to be like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us. Those sisters are His property, Allah's property. He created them. And we are Allah's property. We have to respect Allah's property. We have to respect them. I have seen many young people where they start chit-chatting and talking and they keep going on and on. Where do you think it's going to take you after 2 or 3 or 4 chats? It's going to lead to something else. If you don't start taking it seriously, the joking starts coming in, the sensual talk comes in, you start to let your hair down. I've heard about, sisters who come crying to me saying, young ladies, teenagers, they come for counseling and talk to me because I teach them, and some of them who are older adults, they say to me, this guy, I thought they was interested, he asked me for some pictures, I sent pictures without my hijab, and I sent other things, and then the guy just left me or was lying to me. Some of them, they say, I found they shared my pictures with friends and with other people. And really, that's often what is happening. My advice to you, brothers and sisters, is this. First of all, to the sister, one of the best ways, if he starts talking like that, say, well, would you accept for your sister to talk the way we're talking? Test him out. See if this is okay. Since you're talking to them, test them out. Now, I'm not talking about when friends at school talk to each other. You've got a group chat, boys and girls talk about the weather or studies. It's not haram to do that. So long as everything is in boundaries, inshallah, and you're not private only together. So it's okay. Sometimes you may text each other even privately. What have we got for work tomorrow? If it's innocent, respectful, it's still okay. But my advice to you is share this with your parents. Like talk to your mum and dad, or just talk to your mother if you're a teenager, and just let them be on your side in the picture because they can give you great advice. Okay? Obviously, there are exceptions. Some parents can be violent or something, so you've got to be careful with that. But in general, if it's something respectful and innocent, 1 off, 2 off, something about studies, something, it's not a big deal, inshallah. In Islam, it's not a sin. However, when it comes to marriage and you're serious about it, my advice to you, brothers and sisters, is do not approach marriage until you are ready. Don't sit there like you're still 16, 17 years old. You're probably not going to get married until 5, 6, 7 years later. And you want to hold on to that person and say they're going to go away. You're not going to get married until 6 years later. You're not serious right now. No one's going to go to anyone's house. No one's going to tell the parents. No one's going to take anything seriously. So what are you going to do in 5 or 6 years? I'm talking to Muslims here. Because there are non-Muslims who won't understand what I'm saying. However, in Islam, we still hold on to these values, alhamdulillah. The respect between the man and the woman when it comes to physical contact and sexuality. We still have that, alhamdulillah. And Christianity used to be, back in the 50s. I remember watching an interview with a young girl who was 15 or 16, subhanAllah, old in the 50s. Vintage type of audio interview. And she says, I will never have a boyfriend, ever. I will stay a virgin until I get married. These were the principles throughout history. But only now, after the 60s and 70s, did we have nudity and shamelessness and all this sexuality start to come out, subhanAllah. Brothers and sisters, it's very important. When you're ready, inshaAllah, make the move. If you're not ready, what are you doing 4, 5, 6, 7 years? Allahu A'lam, what's going to happen in that time? My advice to you is when you're ready financially, mentally, physically, then inshaAllah, make the move. And inshaAllah ta'ala, there's little room to keep mucking around, keep spending time. I said mucking, that's an Aussie word, so please don't misunderstand me. So stop fiddling around and playing around games. Get serious inshallah as much as you can. Brothers and sisters, let's move on to the next path inshallah. I'll leave some room for questions.